Fubara vows to crush local government poll disruption as Assembly pushes for Rivers election. Kaduna tricycle operators cry foul over steep levies, rogue regulator harassment. Borno Health Ministry confirms cholera outbreak, 17 cases linked to floods. On the foreign scene, 3 U.S. cops convicted in brutal beaten death of black motorist. Hello and welcome to Trust TV's news updates. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Thank you for joining us. Now, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has expressed surprise at the actions of the police in allegedly attempting to invade the premises of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RSEC, to disrupt the planned local government election on Saturday. Speaking during a media briefing at the government house in Port Harcourt, Governor Fubara on Friday said the move was surprising because he had previously received information indicating that the police intended to withdraw from the local government elections. He questioned why Rivers State is being singled out, especially with what he described as an undue focus on an electoral body that falls under state jurisdiction. Protesters at the RSEC on Friday insisting that the local government elections must hold. He pointed out that the court ruling from Abuja had only instructed the police not to provide security and not to seal the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission premises or interfere with the elections. According to him, the ruling from the Rivers State High Court should take precedence as it was issued first. He emphasized the importance of conducting the elections in compliance with the Supreme Court's ruling, which the federal government is set to implement. Fubara noted that attempts to obstruct the elections would have far-reaching consequences, particularly on the welfare of local government workers. The governor urged the Inspector General of Police, IGP, Batokon, to be ready to take responsibility for any disruptions, warning that any attempt by individuals or groups to stop the elections would be firmly resisted. Fubara reaffirmed that the elections would go ahead as scheduled and the elected officials would be sworn in.
I want to assure Nigerians and the peace-loving people of Rivers State that we have done everything that is needed and we will ensure that this election goes ahead. First, on the issue of voters register, RSEC has already informed us that they have voters register. So why would the election not go on? On the issue of security, if the police feels they don't want to be part of the election, they should withdraw. I'm saying this here so that the Inspector General of Police should be aware and should also know that any act against this will bring a situation of lawlessness in this state, and I think at the end of the day, he should be prepared to take responsibility. Why is the case of Rivers State different? Is it that the law or the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, when it comes to Rivers State, is interpreted in a different way? Local government is the affair of the state government. There is no federal institution that can dictate in any form the way and manner our local government system should operate. Talk less of coming to tell us that we can't hold election or otherwise. Any attempt or group attempt by anyone, any sister agencies to stop this election, we are prepared to make sure that we resist it. We will not put Rivers State in that state of anarchy where the system of local government administration will be suspended because of the protection of one person's interests.
Meanwhile, the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Victor Okojombo, has called for the local government elections scheduled for Saturday to be conducted in adherence with the rule of law and subsistent judgments that enable the exercise. The Assembly Speaker Victor Okojombo, while speaking during plenary on Thursday, said it aligned with the position of the executive arm of government and Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, in ensuring that a proper constitution of duly elected political leadership at the local government level is a reality in the state. Its assembly also approved the 2025-2027 medium-term expenditure framework sent to it by Governor Fubara. Okojombo said Nigeria is guided by the 1999 Constitution and as stipulated in Section 13, all government bodies, officials and private individuals must adhere to and implement the prevailing principles enshrined therein.
The Rivers State House of Assembly further orders that the Rivers State government and the executive governor must conduct elections to the local government councils on the 5th day of October 2024 in compliance with the rule of law and judgment of the courts. In conclusion, we therefore call on the general public to come out en masse on the 5th day of October 2024 and perform their civic duties.
Sudan local government elections over in Benue State has been slated for Saturday, 5th October. Ahead of the polls, residents of the state shared their expectations with Trust TV's Jimmy Adsande. Here's the report.
Usually, there is voter apathy among residents of the state due to lack of confidence in the integrity of state electoral commissions in Nigeria. With the local government autonomy and some level of improved security in the state, the residents are hoping for a good exercise.
We are expecting and we have full hope that everything will go peacefully because at every level of management in the state and local government, we have seen things going on well. With the mindset of our state now, I believe there will be no problem of such. There will be nobody being franchised.
I believe that the way this administration is planning to handle everything and everything is going on, I believe that everything that they plan, they will go well. That is my belief. Because the past administration, you cannot even see all those things planning like this. So far they are planning and they are hoping to do it. I believe that they will do it perfectly and it will be well.
Some of the residents who spoke to Trust TV said they are ready to perform their civic rights come Saturday.
I'm very sure we are trusting God that tomorrow's election will hold and it will be transparent because the government has taken the measures or steps to ensure that tomorrow's election should be effective. As such, the government enabled that choose to yesterday and today that there should be no school work so that people can travel to where they are supposed to do the election to enable them cast their vote effectively.
As to how authentic and as to how fair and free it may be, that I can't tell. But what I have to say is that preparations are carried out. Everything is set. Trainings carried out, and I think it was very well.
Governor Lee in a statement Thursday declared Friday, October 4th, as public holiday and called on Benue people to go out and vote in the local government elections. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Now, Justice Cyril Camille of Plateau State High Court 8 on Friday granted bail to Samuel Baturi, who allegedly published a defamatory statement against Governor Caleb Mutfwang. The accused person was arraigned on Tuesday before Justice Camille on 3-count charges by the Prosecution Counsel, who is the Attorney General of the state. According to the clerk of the court, during the arraignment, the statements allegedly published by the defendant are defamatory and cyber-stalking, which are contrary to sections 372-373 of Penal Code Law of Plateau State 2017 and section 24 subsection B of Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Act 2015. However, on Friday, when the matter came up for hearing, the presiding judge admitted the defendant to bail on the sum of 5 million naira and 2 sureties and like sum after the defendant's counsel pleaded with the judge to give a bench ruling which the prosecution counsel did not oppose. Tricycle riders decrying what they described as irregular activities of tax collectors who allegedly harassed them on the road. According to the riders, these activities not only disrupt their operations but also endanger the lives of passengers they transport. In this report, Trust TV's Bello Musa examines the activities of the tricycle riders, publicly known as Kekena Pep, as well as the alleged extortion and harassment by some levy and tax collectors in the Kaduna metropolis. Here's the story.
The operators of commercial tricycle riders, like any other Nigerian, pay their taxes and levies. However, the activities of suspicious fraudulent tax collectors often disrupt the operations of the tricycle owners. It is mandatory for me to pay tax. However, there are fraudulent tax agents we encounter all the time on the road. Even if we buy government ticket, they will still force us to pay extra. These suspicious elements, as allegedly by the tricycle riders, collect levies and taxes for the union. Aminu Ibrahim is the Kaduna State Chairman of the Tricycle Owners Association. We are aware of these boys on the road, especially at Kakuri. But as a union, we are trying to come together and address the issue. Meanwhile, the activities of fraudulent tax agents is becoming alarming in Kaduna, as many business owners narrate their encounter with the suspicious elements. They came the first time and told me to pay, but at the end, they told me they will be collecting stipends, and as such, I may not necessarily need to pay the real amount. I gave them 2,000 as at then. They often come here, but then I realized they were not genuine agents. So I told them to give me an account number I can use to go and pay in the bank, but they gave flimsy excuses.
Somebody came, this is an invoice given to you that, okay, we are coming back on so date. I called one of my friends that is working in the internal revenue of Kaduna, told me that, no, this agency, this receipt is not this agency that is handling tax matters.
While acknowledging the illegal activities of fraudulent tax agents, Kaduna State Internal Revenue Service says it has the exclusive powers to control, administer, impose, and collect taxes and levies in the state as provided by the Tax Codification and Consolidation Law.
Not a few. A lot of them have been arrested and they are with the police. Some have been sent to the courts for prosecution. So, and then some of them also are on the run. But this is a cartel. This thing has been ongoing for for a long time, over the years.
The activities of fraudulent tax agents is causing more severe hardship to their victims who are struggling so hard to put food on their table amidst the economic crisis in Nigeria. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now, the need to improve Nigeria's informal sector to ensure that the approximately 88% of Nigerians who operate in unstructured business environments get the required support for business growth has been emphasized. Some Lagos residents who stated this while speaking with Trust TV on their working conditions, particularly small business owners, and advanced the need for government support in accessing loans to grow their small businesses. Victoria Chokolo has more on this report is presented from our studio.
Majority of Nigerians, approximately 88%, are engaged in the informal sector such as farming and also cooperate in unstructured environments, often due to lack of formal training. In many cases, these entrepreneurs didn't originally choose this path, but were compelled to do so due to factors such as layoffs from previous jobs. Faced with such situations, they were created opportunities for themselves and have eventually started to thrive. To enhance productivities, stakeholders says it is important for these business owners to unlearn outdated practices and embrace new skills by engaging in contract learning and development. An economist, Oladipo Ajayi, believes that if the informal sector is stifled, the nation risks driving many people back to unemployment, placing a heavier burden on the government.
Imagine farmers that actually produce cocoa, but they don't know how to actually move from more like just a raw material to more like a finished product, or find a way to actually export this product outside the country so as to improve our effect generating capacity. So government needs to work with this, and government needs to actually create a forum where they can actually get feedback from some of these people. They need to understand what they're actually going through, what is the problem, and how to actually help them solve some of these problems.
Some Lagos residents engaged in unstructured business environments advocated greater government support for small businesses.
Try and empower all this small scale business. If they empower them, it will go a long way to solve their problem and help the economy to grow. So they have to create a kind of soft loan to all these small business entrepreneurs, so that they can build up their business very well. So if government is able to at least reduce the price of fuel, it will be okay for this company, because even where I work, these are the issues they have, and most times the electricity is not there. Imagine the cost of diesel. Having issues with this unemployment of our graduates, those who are free from the university. Look at me. I work in the bank and I was retired when I was least expected. I was retired. I got a job as an accountant somewhere. They retired me again. They said I'm old enough. I cannot work in that company. Now I'm now doing my own personal business. My daughter was just leaving from university. No job for her. She is now helping her mother to sell in the shop. Government problem, tax is worrisome.
They urged the Nigerian government to place greater emphasis on vocational trainings for youths, while also providing opportunities for those who cannot afford formal education to acquire specific skills as a way to help develop the nation's economy.
Two more stories. The Borno State government has declared a cholera outbreak following the flood that ravaged Maiduguri and some local governments in the state. The State Commissioner of Health, Professor Baba Mallam, at a press conference in Maiduguri, said that out of 451 cholera suspected cases, 17 turned positive. The outbreak were reported in Maiduguri, Jere, Mafa, Kunduga, and Mungunu local governments. He revealed that the outbreak is on the increase in the affected communities as a result of the flood devastation, and called for urgent action to sensitize and vaccinate the population. Professor Baba Mallam added that it has vaccinated more than 270,000 people, but urged residents to embrace good hygiene to control the spread of cholera.
We are appealing to all the line ministries and agencies and departments and partners to join hands and provide optimal responses in order to control the current cholera outbreak. The state is still expecting more supplies of the cholera vaccines from the Federal Ministry of Health. However, we are recording increasing number of acute watery diarrhea, which is suspicious of cholera, which is not unconnected with the flood devastation.
From Borno, we go to Bauchi State, where farmers have identified lack of access roads and insufficient storage facilities as a major challenge during and after harvest periods.
With the last part of this year's farming season,
TV ahead of this year's harvest, which they hope will be far better than that of previous years. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the report.
Part of this year's farming season already underway in some parts of northern Nigeria. Many are hopeful that after witnessing a high rate of food inflation, things will get better with the new harvest. Some Bauchi farmers blame some of their challenges on the recent high cost of fuel, which saw prices of inputs surge. We are always worried about how we will move our farm produce after harvest due to the dilapidated nature of the roads, because heavy rainfall can destroy the harvest. So we usually keep it here in the farm for some days to dry completely before we evacuate to our homes for onward consumption. Another issue we deal with is theft, Idle people are just there waiting for us to finish so that they will come and steal some or even all. So it is a big challenge to us.
Of the hike in the price, for me to transport myself from town to this room, how I used to spend like 3,000. And how much am I getting in the farm? And if I finish harvesting now, for me to transport it back home, I don't know how I'm going to transport it, because the road is even not good for me to bring a car to enter this place now. So the challenges is so much, is numerous to say, and I don't know and the cost is because of the fuel.
They, however, urge authorities in the agri sector to always marshal out plans that will address the current issues farmers are facing, and also call on the government to improve the economy as a whole to ensure food security throughout the nation. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, a former officer on trial over the brutal beating to death of a black motorist was found guilty of civil rights offenses Thursday in the U.S. federal court. That's on the foreign scene. In contrast, 2 others were convicted of witness tampering. All 3 were cleared of the most serious charge they faced, which would have held them responsible for the death of 29-year-old Tyre Nichols. However, they still face long prison sentences up to 20 years after the felony convictions. The head of the United Nations Office to the African Union on Wednesday briefed the Security Council on the cooperation between the UN and regional organizations, including the African Union. The permanent observer of the AU to United Nations, Fatima Kiari Mohammed, said the Council was pleased with the increased involvement of the bloc of 3 elected African members of the United Nations Security Council. Mohammed reiterated Africa's demand for a better representation on the Council. She said the African Union anticipates practical steps, including the initiation of text-based intergovernmental legislations to prioritize Africa in the reform of the UN Council. Earlier in the day, some members of the Council underscored the importance of cooperation in troubled times and made a case for focus on prevention and resilience building. The AU welcomes the deepening of the partnership between the African Union and the United Nations on climate, peace and security.
The African Union anticipates practical steps, including the initiation of text-based intergovernmental negotiations to prioritize Africa in the reform of the UN Security Council.
We need to focus on prevention and resilient building. This involves increasing efforts towards sustainable development, as well as collaborative and inclusive multi-stakeholder action, including with women and youth-led organizations. Conflict-sensitive climate adaptation, mitigation, finance and resilience actions can be an important lever for peace building. We therefore welcome the deepening of the partnership between the African Union and the United Nations on climate, peace and security.
On the sports scene, Kano Hisbah has banned sport betting across the state after a series of reported raids in Minjibir area of Kano State targeting betting shops. These operations led by the Kano State Hisbah Corps have sparked controversy. Legal expert Ali Jamilu offers insight into the implications of these actions and the broader legal landscape in Nigeria.
Hisbah has no power to make any law in Kano State. Though they are operating like the Sharia cops, they have no power to make law whatsoever. They have no power to do so because they themselves are a creation of the law. It is the Kano State Assembly that created them, and they are not empowered to make any law. They cannot do so. And if they decide to do so, they are going against the tenets of the law, and the law will go against them. Indeed. You know, when we go through the law establishing Hisbah, we have by Section 10 of the Kano State Hisbah Board Law 2003, there are powers of the Hisbah cops. The cops themselves, they have powers on what to do and what not to do. Offer advice and counseling to any person or body. Invite, arrest, or detain any person suspected to have committed an offense. And within reasonable time, report to the appropriate authorities. Then, by implication, the law says that Hisbah is not the appropriate authority. You understand? So if they have legal department, of which I know they do have, they have legal head, they should be advised appropriately.
Now, Turkey manager Gökhan Yagmur has informed that the value of Super Eagles and Galatasaray star Victor Osimhen has dropped despite his superb performance since joining on loan from Napoli. The Nigerian had recorded 2 goals and 2 assists for his Istanbul club in 5 matches since his arrival, while his first goal against Kasımpaşa was voted the goal of the week. Yagmur's statement on Friday on the new market value stated that market values are not based solely on performance. Turkey is not yet in a position to regularly export players from countries such as Portugal, Belgium, or the Netherlands to the top leagues. That's it for news updates at this time. For more of our news, programs, and documentaries, do to follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I'm Chama Kanwafo. Thank you for joining us at this time.